Looking here at dividing fractions by other fractions. So if we had 4/5 divided by 3/7. When you're dividing a fraction by another fraction, the easiest thing to do is to use the inverse operation. So the inverse of division is multiplication. So we're going to say 4/5 multiplied by, and then we use the reciprocal of the fraction you're dividing by. So instead of 3/7, we use the reciprocal, which means we flip it over and it becomes 7/3. But now we just multiply those numbers together. 4 7s are 28 and 5 3s are 15. And we have 28 over 15, and when you convert it to a mixed number, you'll have 1 and 13 over 15. Looking at why this works, multiplication does the opposite of division. It's the inverse operation. Division is the opposite, the inverse, of multiplication. And when we use the reciprocal of a number, that's the inverse of that number, the opposite number. So 7/3 is the inverse or opposite of 3/7. So if we remember to use the reciprocal of the number being divided, then the inverse of division, the operation, which is multiplication, you'll get the same answer. Quick look at what reciprocals are, which might help you to understand why this works. If you want the reciprocal of a fraction, as you've seen, you just flip it over. You swap the numerator and the denominator. So the reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4 or 5/4. So remembering that fractions are division, 5 divided by 4 is the reciprocal or the opposite of 4 divided by 5. With whole numbers, just remember that you can turn those into fractions. So 4, its reciprocal would be 1 over 4, because if you remember, 4 is the same as 4 over 1 if you were to write it as a fraction. So 1 divided by 4 is the reciprocal or opposite of 4 divided by 1. When you multiply a number by its reciprocal, you will get 1. So 4/5 multiplied by its reciprocal, 5/4. 4 times 5 is 20, and 5 times 4 is 20, and where you have a numerator and denominator the same, you have the equivalent to 1. 4 times by a quarter, if you're writing this out and you put 4 over 1, you can see why that works. 4 times 1 is 4, and 1 times 4 is 4, and that's the same as 1.